Okay, we're here with Mark and Clint, owners of C2 Racing, which is fortunate enough to own White Abarrio, one of the leading contenders for Saturday's Breeders' Cup Classic. Guys, thanks for your time, first off. And after the Whitney, which was probably in the history of the Whitney Stakes, one of the most impressive ones I can remember, what were your thoughts, and when did the Classic pop into your mind?
You were there. It was really unbelievable. Rick the whole week was excited. We didn't intend to run in the Whitney. We had planned to run in the Forgo. And with the short field, Mark and Rick talked and we decided, hey, let's take a shot here. We thought he would run well, but we didn't know he was going to run that well, John. But it was an exciting day, and, to win the Breeders' Cup, winning you're in, and here we are today.
So after the Whitney, the winning you're in kind of clinched it.
Yeah, I'll let Mark expand on that a little bit. Him and Rick talked a little bit about the plan forward.
Well, he ran so big. He ran like minus 6.5, I think, on the thoroughgraphs and a huge rag number. So I'm a big believer in when they run that kind of big race off the top, you got to give them some time off, freshen them up, let them recover from the number, which when Rick and I discussed it, we thought it was best to send them out here middle of September and prepare him over here over the track surface at Santa Anita. It can be a little difficult. So he's going to have 5 or 6 breezes over this surface. He's settled in really nice. And the nice thing about this horse is before we cut him back, going 7/8 at Gulfstream in the middle of his 4-year-old year, he just seemed to blossom physically. I've never really seen a horse put on this much weight, this much shoulder, hip, the girth of the horse, and his sire was like that race day. And he did the exact same thing, and he really turned into a powerful racehorse as a 4-year-old, and it looks like White Abarrio is taken after him in that capacity.
Now you drew towards the inside, I think the 4-hole in the Classic, right? 3-hole. You got that long run into the first turn. Were you happy with the draw?
Not really. I mean, we'd rather have an outside stalking trip. Luckily we got Irad on the horse, so he's going to have to do some race riding. We'll probably have to use him a little more earlier than we want to get in a tactical position behind the speed, and we'd like to be in the first horse and the second flight of horses, stalking those horses to be able to get first run at the quarter pole, basically.
The Breeders' Cup Classic is like the biggest race if you take out the Kentucky Derby in the United States, and it's one of the major races in the world. I think, personally, it should be a $10 million purse race. I mean, you guys got a horse in it, so I know, let's take the bias out of the horse in it. Agree, disagree?
Well, you've got Saudi Arabia, you got 20.
Right.
You've got the Dubai World Cup's, 12 now?
Right.
So, and then the Pegasus. So, you would think it'd be over 10, honestly. But, we're happy to run for the 6.
Right.
It's not all about the purse money. It's about what the asset value of your horse does as well, from, breeding rights down the line and everything else. And by the way, we plan on racing this horse next year too. So
that's great. That's great. Exploded at 1.1 miles in the Whitney. Any concern at all about the little extra distance going 1.25 miles?
No. The only time he's really had a chance to run in that was the Kentucky Derby, which is a complete throwout for 80% of the field that day. Honestly, it wasn't just him. Right. If you go back and look at the pace setup and everything else and the race flow, 80% of the horses didn't fire in reality. And the only other time was, I think it was the Haskell, and we didn't get the ride we want at all. But, this horse is a very smart horse. He relaxes very well. He has a natural high cruising speed. And, if you ever watch him down the backside, he just gets into his rhythm and goes. So I don't think carrying his speed and another 1/8 of a mile is going to be any question. If you go back and watch the Whitney, there's
Looked
nothing
like
in that race.
Around again.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree.
Exactly.
Historically, jockeys, and I always use Bill Shoemaker as the example with Northern Dancer and Hill Rise. Historically, jockeys have made the wrong call in big races. Now, they make a lot of right calls, too. Forte's not here. Irad was riding both horses. Did you guys have a contingency plan? Did you know whether he was going to stick with your horse or ride the other horse, or what was going to happen?
A lot of this business, Irad's got a wonderful relationship with Todd and Mike.
Right.
And there's politics involved in this game, as everybody knows. Okay,
Right.
he's not going to go out there and burn a bridge
Right.
for one mount, regardless of what race it is, in that kind of a relationship. With that being said, there were question marks with Forte the whole time. So we were sitting there thinking, okay, he's going to ride us 85, 90% shot. He's going to ride us. And our contingency plan was Tyler. You know, Tyler's
Okay.
had a lot of success on this horse himself. And the backup plan after that was going to be Frankie Dettori.
Okay. Can't go wrong with any of those
No.
guys, really. What does it mean to you guys to be part of, and such a huge part of Rick's success, coming back into the game after being away from the game?
You know, I think from our perspective, it was the right move for us and the horse. I know Mark talked to a lot of different people before we made the decision to go with Rick. And, you know, I think people deserve a second chance in life, right? And I don't think anyone in the industry questions Rick as a horseman at all.
Agreed.
I mean, you know, I've talked to a few people, and they've all said he's probably one of the better horsemen that they know. So we definitely made the right decision, you know, and we're excited for Rick to be back, you know, in the Classic and have an opportunity.
But the thing is, the support with the actual horsemen that are in the know in this business are all behind Rick.
Right.
They're all behind the move. They're all supporting Rick. It's the people on the fringes on your Twitter that don't know anything
Right.
that are putting these comments out there. But the actual horsemen that are in the business, that are in the know, support them 100%.
Yeah. You know, I respect a lot that you guys, you know, gave him that shot. I've supported him the whole time, and I'm thrilled that he delivered the way he did for you already, because when you think about it, first shot back out of the box within the first year, wins a grade one, a historic grade one like the Whitney that's got a long storied history at Saratoga, storied historical racetrack, and won it as impressively as anybody. So he's already really delivered. So
Right.
you guys are kind of part of that historic comeback now, because it was, you know, your horse, and you know.
Well, you know, everything's kind of led up to this point. You know, we had a tough time at Churchill Downs with scratching us for no reason over there. And sometimes things just happen for a reason. You don't know what they were at the time. We were very upset about it, but we put a lot of thought into this, kind of regrouped. That's when we decided to cut him back to the 7/8. And the horse has just kind of blossomed since then. You know, if you go back and look at his form, he's had, if you look at buyer numbers, he's had like a series of progression from 96 to 99 to 103 to 106 to 110. So these races just didn't come out of nowhere. It was gradual improvement, which is what we like to see. So we still think he's could be potentially sitting on another big race here with the timing.
We wish you guys the best of luck. Thanks for your time, and
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
go get him on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone begins in horse racing with exactly the same thing, a dream. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. That dream is what unites us.
She's running the race of her life, and she's up to take the lead.
But what truly sets us apart is choosing to make that dream a thrilling reality.
And Spiced Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
At Dare to Dream Stable, we've been on a relentless mission to breathe life into those dreams for our partners for over 20 years.
Here's the Wire Mooncat.
Our track record speaks for itself. We've excelled at turning dreams into reality at the most reasonable price points in the
In the
industry.
winner's circle is Dare to Dream Stable, LLC.
So the question is, do you dare to dream? Join us in racehorse ownership today.